Okay, let's start. Let's speak about how to train your Vue CLI plugin, and considering the fact we have like 5 people here knowing what Vue is, the question is like, why should I care about Vue and Vue CLI and Vue CLI plugins? Let's consider the typical case for any complex plugin you want to install to your application. Imagine you have an app and you want to convert it to desktop app with Electron. What do? So first step is obvious. We are installing Electron, and then we need to create an Electron setting. So we're creating an app.js file, we're importing everything to it, we're creating browser window, and some more work because we need to define the URL where Electron application will be running, and more work because we need a listener to start browser window. And still not enough, because Electron will be running with this huge command, and you definitely don't want to run it every time from your console. And again, you need to modify Webpack, because you need to find out the public path. Of course, it's like fast and easy, but is it a good development experience if you need to repeat this process every single time you're just installing Electron? Imagine you're an author of the library and you know people should take all these steps to install something to their application. What if we can do it with one command, with one string, that will care about everything, that will install all dependencies, change files, create Webpack config, and your application will be converted to Electron app immediately? It's possible. That's why we have Vue CLI and Vue CLI plugins. And with this moment, when you know why you need this, I can introduce myself. My name is Natalia, and I'm Vue.js core team member and a Google developer expert in web technologies, and I work as a senior front-end engineer at GitLab. So let's have a look at Vue CLI. Vue CLI, generally speaking, is a command line interface, and it's globally installed NPM module. And as soon as you have it installed globally, you have a Vue command, and you can do some magic with this. You can just type Vue create my project, and the boilerplate will be created with some options. Exactly this, and see, TypeScript tooling is great, like Marcus said. No reason here, unfortunately. And it's actually the first moment when you can see Vue CLI plugins. Because, as well as Next, Vue CLI is modular. It consists of plugins. This list of plugins are called core Vue CLI plugins because they're available on application creation, and they are written by core team. Unfortunately, we can't hook up with our own custom plugin at this moment when application is created. Good thing is, if you forgot about something, if you forgot add TypeScript, you can always do it later on your Vue CLI application. You can simply type Vue add my plugin, and it will add it. Let's give it a try. Let's run Vue UI. Is it visible? If not, I will make it a bit bigger and probably a bit lighter. Let's change the color theme to something light. Is it better now? Okay. Let's run Vue UI, which is really fancy because it's graphical interface for command line tool. But still, let's make it happen. So you can see here a graphical interface, and we're going to create a new Vue CLI project with it right now. And I hope internet will be fine. Let's create a new project. As you can see, I have JNation test. Let's replace it. This folder already exists, smart one. Let's overwrite it. You can see we can initialize Git repository right here, and I'm still with this. And here, you can see all these plugins I've just mentioned. TypeScript, Progressive Web Application, Router, Linter. I'm not going to use Linter. I'm living on the edge, no linting. And I'm not going to create a new preset and let it work. There is a really small sign here. This might take a while, because right now, it's installing NPM modules required for Vue CLI plugin. Oh, this is fast. I was expecting it worse. So right now we have a simple Vue project, and we can start it with a simple command. It's equal to yarn serve. Right now our application is running. Let's open it. Nothing fancy, just a Vue app. It's a basic boilerplate of Vue CLI. So let's play with plugins. For today, we have 484 plugins available, which is great because they are mostly community-based. It's not core. 3 of them are mine. So 494 is not enough. Let's create one more. And we will start with naming. Naming is very important for Vue CLI plugins, because you remember this fancy command Vue add. What is the magic under the hood? When you type Vue add, internally it will search NPM for the module with a given name. And it will search only for Vue CLI plugin scoped, or scope Vue CLI plugin. That's why we can simply type Vue add electron, but under the hood, it's Vue CLI plugin electron builder. So it's NPM. And as any NPM module, there are some requirements for this. It should have package.json, otherwise NPM won't let you to deploy it as NPM module. It should have README. Okay, you can deploy without README, but nobody will realize what's the model for. And it should have an index.js file with a simple empty export at least. It's a minimum. But the magic will happen in other places. So your plugin can have generator.js or a generator folder with index.js, and this part is responsible for changing templates mostly, prompts, and it's a really fancy thing because it allows your users to make choices, like you've seen we're selecting plugins. And UI. And UI is actually a part needed to integrate CLI with Vue UI. These ones are optional, but highly recommended. And let's start with generator. Generator probably is the most magical part of any CLI plugin, because first, it works with your package.json. Generator lets you to add dependencies, and these dependencies will all be installed at the moment you're adding plugin to your project. It can also change templates, which means you can change any file of your existing project on generator, and it handles imports. When you're installing your plugin, generator will be invoked immediately after invoke command. It's all very abstract, so let's have a look on what's going on here. I will go to my project and I will add our JNation folder here. Oh, it's so small. So we can see changes and what's going on here. Oh my God. I think I kind of failed with it because I created JNation inside of JNation, but it's fine. So you can see we have a package.json file. It's JNation test, and there is nothing here. It's just a Vue project. It has a source where we have main.js, and for Vue project, it's a main file where we need to import everything, and when we actually starting a new Vue app. And app Vue. It's just a root component of the Vue project. Now let's have a look on the app Vue itself. It has Vue logo and some Hello World component. And in browser, we can see this. It's a logo and Hello World component as well. So let's try to change it. We have a generator here. You can see it's a folder with a template and index.js. And it's completely the same as have generator.js. Right now, it's just empty export, nothing here. But what we are going to do, we want to actually change the root component of our existing application. We want to render something different on its place. And that's why we are mocking the structure of Vue project right here. And we will replace an existing app Vue with this one. And to do this, we will use a generator API. API parameter here is Vue CLI generator API. It's documented on Vue CLI website, and it's really simple. It has around like 16 commands. And we will use very intuitive one, which is render. And we are going to render all the template folder here. Okay, we have it. Let's go to our application. And our app has plugins. Right now, we have installed Babel because I went with a default preset. And we want to add some more. Remember, I mentioned these 494 plugins. They're all here. It's looking through NPM, and you can search them. You can just, if you like RxJS, you can try like Vue CLI plugin Rx, which will add a support. But right now, our plugin is not published. So we will go with local plugin. And we will install our Vue CLI plugin demo here. We have no configuration. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I probably will need to change my project because right now I have two Vue projects inside each other. That's why it's kind of failing. So let me give it one more try. I will just go with a different project here. Let's go to the Vue project manager and import a different one. Like I have on the desktop work, I have another JNation, just to be safe. And let's install our plugin here. We have a demo and Vue CLI plugin demo. Okay. As you can see, there are some changes. They're very small, but we installed it and it changed our app view. Let's go and run our task. And as you can see, our app view changed with one command. Yeah, I know, smiling. Let's have a closer look at app view. And as you can see, we have this icon here. Does anyone know what is this? It's font awesome, exactly. But it's not displayed on the application. Why? Because we didn't install font awesome. Let's try to make it with our plugin. So we are going to change package.json. And this command actually is doing what it says. It's very intuitive. We're extending the package.json with everything we put here. So for font awesome, we need what? Dependency. And we will add it's font awesome free. And we need a version, it's like 570. Okay, we will have it in our dependencies, but it's still not enough. Because we need to, it's fine, it's font awesome. I was spending like 30 minutes trying to memorize all this stuff. So trust me, it's font awesome. I don't know why. No logic here. But it's not enough. we just install Font Awesome as a dependency, but we need somehow to inject it to our Vue application. We need to import its CSS. And for this, generator has a magic. It's inject imports command. Oh my God, I'm so bad. So as a first argument, we need to specify where we are going to inject our imports. And in our JNation project, I will remove this one from the workspace and add a correct one, sorry. And it's my desktop work, JNation. Great. So as you can see, we have a main.js file. Why not just hard code it? It's like JNation test main.js. Because sometimes in Vue projects we have types. And our main.js will become main.ts. That's why we need to specify it with a special command. It's API entry file. And right now we're adding this import. I will copy paste it. Second time is like, it's too hard. With the CSS, all CSS. Okay. Awesome, let's give it a try. To do it, I will just remove all the changes we have and reinstall it. So we are back to our we don't have a dragons now, we're back from normal application. Let's go to plugins, no plugin because we discarded changes. And let's go back to demo and add our plugin here. It takes a bit more time because right now it's trying to fetch Font Awesome as well, and it's installed as a dependency here. And let's run our command to see if magic will happen. Yay! Right now we have this small icon from Font Awesome. It installed dependency and it added an import. But right now, we have a next question. We just modified the root component of the application. Is it safe? If you have a fresh installation from Vue CLI, it's okay. But what if you have a working project and your root application is probably very important and you really like it, it's precious to you, and someone just went and changed it? It's not that good. That's why we have prompts. In Vue CLI plugins, prompts are designed to ask user what actually user wants to make. And it will pass answers to your generator and to your templates. So you can make it really customizable. It's done with a library called Inquirer.js, and it's just a syntax to ask questions. It's a simple array of objects with a given properties like name, type, and message. And when we start to install our Vue CLI plugin, after it's installed and invoked, first, user will have questions before generator hits the stage. That's why we can control it. Okay, let's go to our prompts. And let's also stop our fancy UI for now, and we will play just with the console. So here we have file with prompts.js, and it's just an empty object right now. So let's add our first prompt here. It will be named change app. It will have a type of confirm, which means it's just a question, yes, no. And the message will be, do we want to modify? Okay. App view. Okay. And let's put a default of false. So user can't shoot on his or her leg, and user need to actually confirm they want to change your application. Now we need to somehow pass this to generator. And for this, we have a second argument. It's options. And let's add a condition. If we have options change app, and it's a name we gave to our prompt, we will render a template. Otherwise, no template. Our app view will stay unchanged. So let's do it manually without fancy UI. It's just yarn, install, and we need to specify the path to our plugin file. And yes, I remember it as well. Plugin demo. Okay. Oh, it's yarn add. Nobody told me. You've seen I'm failing. Okay, right now it's installing our plugin as well as UI did. And now we are going to invoke it. And now there is a small string right here. Do we want to modify app view? Yes, no? Yes, we're going to modify it. So for those who don't like UIs and who is like a really old school, console solution is here as well. Okay, this is fancy, we rendered our app, but what about we want to pass some options from prompts to template? Can we do it? In fact, yes. Let's ask user about their name and somehow render it in the application. For this, we will have name, like username, and type will be different because we need to actually input it. And message is like, please enter your name. And we can pass all these options here when we actually render a template. So we can also go to our app view and replace friends with a very fancy syntax. It's called EJS. And we will render a username if we have it. Otherwise, we are going just to render a string friends as it was previously. Okay, oh, so many problems. Nice. Let's go to terminal. Let's go back to UI. And let's add this new prompt here. Okay, again, browse local plugins, demo, Vue CLI plugin demo, edit. And now you can see these prompts. Is it visible at all? So you can see them in graphical interface. Do you want to modify a few? Yes. What's your name? Natalia. Let's go back to task, run it fastly, and see if I failed. Nope, I didn't fail. That's why we have a name rendered here. Yeah, so impressive, right? Names. Okay, next part is really tricky because it's going to change Webpack template, and I have 6 minutes, and also I'm not a Sean Larkin, so I'm not going to touch Webpack on stage. Otherwise, it will be all broken, but let's add a new Vue CLI service command. Why service commands are great? Why can't we make a task? Because Vue CLI service command is invisible to your user internally. It's something that user will have an application without knowing what's under the hood. And sometimes you really need it, trust me. So let's create something simple, and we are going to make it in our service. And service is actually this index.js file we have in the root. It's the most important part because without this index.js, even empty one, your plugin is not going to work. So we will create a command here. We will name it simply thanks. And here is what it will do. It will just make a console log for now. Thanks. And we are going also to add it to our generator so we can have a task for it. So additionally to dependencies, we will have scripts part. And thanks, we'll run a Vue CLI service. Thanks. Okay. Let's reinstall it for the last time. I promise. And back here, add a plugin. Continue. Add a plugin one more time. Okay, it's demo, Vue CLI plugin demo. Let's add it here. Just N, it's enough. So right now, we have this thanks command here. If we run it, we have just a thanks. Let's make it a bit more customizable, because command is not enough. Let's add a parameter. Who do you want to thank? And we will pass args here. And if we have a name, we are going to say thanks name. Otherwise, we are going just to say thanks. Okay, now we don't need to. Sorry? Oh, yeah, right, thanks. Let's go back here. Right now, we are not invoking our plugin, so we can simply refresh it, not reinstall. And unfortunately, we can't run it right now from the UI because there are no parameters here. So let's try it old school way. And let's yarn, thanks, name, JNation. Thanks, JNation. Our service work, but I have 2 more minutes and I'm going to show how it works in the UI. Because UI integration is actually great. It has not only integrated tasks, but advanced prompts, it has widgets. And this one, if you ever played with GraphQL, is just Prisma, which is one of the graphical interfaces for GraphQL, just built in right into the Vue UI. So, wish me luck to code in 2 minutes. Let's give it a try. So we have our UI.js. It's a file actually responsible for UI integration. And we are going to extend our task. So we have our thanks task. We need to match name thanks. We will add some description like say thanks to someone. We will add a link which is like yay, 2 slashes. And we need to add parameters, which are actually the same prompts we already have. It's an array of objects, and we will have name as a name, message like who do you want to thank, and the type of input. And we need somehow to pass it to our service. on before run. It's a hook that will start before service hits the stage, and we have answers passing from the UI and args from the service. And if we have answers name, we are going to push it to our service. Args push. Oh, I'm out of time, almost. We're going to push name, answers name. Okay, I will just close it and give it a try. Okay, back to our plugin. Let's update it and go to tasks. First of all, you can see we have description and the link, but also we have parameters. Let's save it and run it, and thanks JNation. It was really brief, but if you want to check it in details, we have a plugin development guide on CLI Vue.js.org. I authored it, and a demo repository if you want to play with it as well. I will share slides immediately and tag the conference, so no worries. Thanks. And if you have any questions, just find me at lunch, because food is important.